All right, Ultimate Hoops Nation. My name is Reed Nelson. This is Jason Briggs. This is This Week in Rec.
I'm glad you made it back from Vegas.
Thank you. Made it back safely. So let's rewind onto one topic from last week. Muskies v. Guerrillas. We don't have instant replay, or the Muskies would have another win in the win column. Apparently there's video. If there is video, we're running it right now. Take us through that play.
Well, I mean, I don't want to throw Casey under the bus, but since he left before we filmed this, I'm going to. Jonathan Christensen hits a big three with about, 11 seconds left, 12 seconds left. They come down, dish it over to one guy, they cut the lane, and we all collapse. Not we all, but the team collapses. Gets to Izzy on the wing. Throws up a three, misses. James Pinkett shoves Junius, grabs the rebound, gets it to... or taps the rebound, gets to Maher. Maher, terrible decision, takes a step back and is going, throws up just a horrible shot with about 2 seconds left, and it's 2-1. Izzy sneaks in. John Christensen was boxing out here to get the long rebound. Casey just kind of grabbed Billy and shoved him under the hoop, leaving this little curl for Izzy to come in, grabs it kind of down here, flings it up, goes in. The video shows, is if you're playing, that the shot should not have counted. However, due to an equipment malfunction,
I wouldn't call it that.
the shot did get off before the buzzer sounded, but not before the clock struck 0. So I forgive the refs, and I said it immediately to Ronnie, like, basket was no good before I saw the video. Basket was no good, but you had to call it good in that position. I mean, tie goes to the runner kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so, congrats. Great win. They backed it up this week.
But what's done is done. We don't have replay. And
if we rebound the basketball, that doesn't happen.
There you go. So, a couple of talkers. Playoffs. Fast approaching. We have 32 teams. We haven't had 32 teams in some time. Has the Players Committee decided how many teams will be making the postseason?
No, we have not. And I kind of think we'll do it after tomorrow night. I don't want to expand it to 24 teams and have 2 or 3 2-6 teams get in. But if we're going to have, an overflow of some 3 and 5 teams, then absolutely I could consider opening it up. What it does is it takes 4 buys away. So the 9, 10, 11, 12 seed are now playing game teams rather than getting that bye. So it adds a little more action. I do like the fact that we get 8 games followed by 8 games. So 2 nights in a row.
I agree.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 games Thursday.
I think we could do the same system we've done in the past, where if you get the 2 or 3 votes, but then again, last quarter that didn't work out too well.
There's some bias.
So
some stupidity.
So I guess maybe we'll decide tomorrow night. So, okay, so let's get to the topic.
Shout out to Malice.
Malice from last week. Yes, we're still talking last week now.
Great win. Celtics were looking a little old. I played about 8 minutes. It was best 8 minutes I've ever played. 0 for 1, like 6 fouls, something like that. Bubba Wells kind of stat sheet, or stat line. But yeah, they just say Eric Bond, it should be a sleeper candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, because Wiskus, Carson Cody, and Marcus, fantastic job on each one this year. So,
and Miller Time takes down the Muskies easily tonight. Talk about that.
It's almost like they knew that Hi and John Christensen didn't show up, because they threw a zone at 6 guys who can't shoot. And,
smart guys.
Very smart. And yeah, we had nothing. So take our shooters away. The Muskies are the sum of its parts. We're not 1 player, 2 player, but hell, if you take our 2 best players away, we sure look pretty shitty.
Okay, let's talk Timberwolves. We got the lottery. We got the number 1 pick. How did you feel last night when you saw that?
I told my wife and mother-in-law, who's staying with us for last week and then through Sunday, that if they heard sobbing from downstairs, we got the number 4 pick. And if they heard a little girl screaming, we got the number 1. So picks 4 through 14, I was actually on the can with the TV turned way up. And then I was able to, finish up and run into the other room for 1 through 3. And I was just sitting there like it actually mattered to me. And I know it doesn't, but I was just shaking. and then it was a nice relief, only to know that we're probably going to get the guy I don't want.
I mean, the percentages were for us to get the 4 pick. That's a scary thing.
Correct.
So, okay.
I watched the actual drawing, by the way, because they showed it on NBA TV. The Wolves got the first pick and technically the 3rd pick. So their combinations came up
1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Interesting. Okay, so who should they pick?
Emmanuel Mudiay.
And who do you want them to pick?
The Wolves should pick. Well, yes, it's the same thing, right? Who do I want them to pick, and who should they pick?
Who will they pick? Who do you want them to pick?
I want them to pick Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not a big fit versus best player available, but I think Okafor and Towns are pretty equal. So in this case, the tie would go to the player who would actually fit with our team. They're good at a lot of things. Defense is not necessarily one of them. So give me the guy who plays kind of like Duncan on defense rather than the guy who might have Tim Duncan footwork on offense. My big fear is that Okafor is just a glorified Al Jefferson. Fancy footwork, great rebounder, can score from down low, big hands, turnstile defense.
Doesn't sound very fun.
It doesn't sound very fun, and he's just a kid, but he didn't show anything at Duke to lead me to believe that he's a good defender.
I won't make a prediction because I don't know well enough, but I think I would like them to go defense.
Yeah.
But nobody really plays defense in the NBA anyways.
But since Jahlil Okafor's agent is Bill Duffy, the agent of Andrew Wiggins, and the former college roommate of Flip Saunders, I think they're going to pick Okafor. Flip's an offensive coach, so they're going to go with the best offensive player. And it's one of those things where Okafor's been, it's kind of like Wiggins. Okafor has been talked up since he was in high school. He was going to be the number 1 pick. And Towns may have caught him at the end of the year, but I think Flip and everyone else is just going to say, hey, this guy was number 1 pick all year long. He's still going to be the number 1 pick. He doesn't fit with Peck, though. That's one clogged lane with those two.
Sure. Why do you hate the national tournament so much?
I don't hate it, per se. I don't get a big kick out of it like some of you do because it's not the best team in the country.
It is, though.
It's the best.
This was the team.
It's the best team for a weekend because you're not taking actual teams.
This team was an actual team, and last year's team was an actual team.
Wasn't last? Well,
last year's was the decision.
Okay, they didn't add anyone for the
1 or 2 guys.
Okay, that's my point exactly. If you took the champion of St. Louis Park versus the champion of Colorado,
sure,
Illinois, then you have the best teams in the country for a weekend. But if you get to just add all-stars, is Kevin Gullickson played in UH in 3 years, but yet he's on the Bulls roster? Paris Kyle's not playing this year, Bulls roster. There's a lot of things that people get added for the weekend, and I'm glad you have a great time. And I'm glad it's a big success. 16 teams going out to the club, everyone has a great time. It's just not my cup of tea because I don't take stock in the best team for a weekend and then having to call them national champs for a year.
So you hate the Olympics?
Yes.
All right. So do you want Towns
But
are going to take
America.
Go America. Like I said, I have no idea who they're going to take. So
they'll take Okafor. Write it down. And they're going to trade their 2 second-rounders, the 31st and the 36th, to get back up to try to take either Tyus Jones or a shooter like Rashad Vaughn or a few of the others.
Oh, yeah, like the Minnesota guys. So
correct.
Here's my take.
They got selling tickets.
If they screw this up, and what I mean by that is if in 2017 they don't start a playoff run, and I'm not saying they got to get to the conference finals, but if they don't start a playoff run in 2017 that lasts for about 5 years, forget it. I'm done. Move the team.
Contraction.
Just get them out of here. I mean, you have no excuse now. None. You got Wiggins. You're going to have another number 1 pick. You got Rubio. Make the postseason and get back to me.
One issue, Mr. Nelson, is free agency is a great supplemental piece, and the Wolves will need to use it as a supplemental piece because you're not going to get huge stars to come here via free agency. But that is a hindrance. Then that allows teams like the Lakers to catch up really fast.
Sure.
So 1 or 2 good draft picks, and then being able to spend $16 million on a guy that never come to the Timberwolves makes it a lot easier for them to jump back into the playoffs. Wolves have to do it organically just by adding a little guy here, little guy here.
Well, yeah. I mean, but now we've got our stars via draft picks, and, that we can just get the Kevin Martins of the world.
Right. But New Orleans is on the rise. Lakers will get a good player, and people will go there, so they're going to be on the rise. Phoenix, they kind of screwed up with some of the trades, but I mean they're a team that's up and coming. There's a few the old teams that are still hanging on too, so it's not going to be quite as easy as like 2 seasons we're going to be there. We should be
postseason.
We should
the 8th seed.
It's the West.
Yeah, but the Spurs, the Thunder, they're not going to be the West anymore.
The Thunder didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know, but the Spurs and the Thunder, they're gonna be, not as strong in the future.
Where's Durant and Westbrook going?
Durant's going to go to Washington. Westbrook's going to go to New York. I don't know. I have no freaking clue where these guys are going. So, okay, that's it. We'll maybe see you tomorrow night. We'll see you tomorrow night? No. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.